What's up, guys? I am here with the excellent Uncle Sharma, the man. He is honestly somebody who I try to aspire to be like. He got me into YouTube, and I really just admire who he is and his energy, what he brings to Serie A and fandom. Of course, he represents Inter Milan. I do respect that. I don't hate on it. Roma and Inter have been through a lot together. Some incredible matches, some of the best goals that we've ever seen in Italian football. Sharma, what do you think about that comment?
Yeah, no, you've as soon as you said that, some memories have been going. Actually, the goal that I'm annoyed with myself, but the goal I'm thinking of is the Cucchiaio, the Totti chip.
Everyone must go to that goal. But on top of that, I'm sorry that it happened against Inter, but it is definitely one of the most beautiful goals in, I think, all of football. The way that he just cut through the center and hit that. Um, but for a very long time, Sharma, I endured a magnificent Inter Milan, one that constantly took first place while Roma took second,
Mm.
where these two teams just got the best out of each other. And there really should be a term for the rivalry between these two clubs. And it's not like, I wouldn't say it's in bad blood either. Not
No,
like the way, that both of our teams are against Juventus. I would say that's a bit more edgy. There's a bit of malice like with those. But I think that Inter and Roma is always like an excellent, awesome match to watch. Do you agree?
yeah, 100%, bro. Like, it's always a match that I look forward to in the calendar when the calendar is released. And now, especially with the Mourinho being there, it's just kind of extra special for us Interisti. I know he's not going to be there technically now this next match because he got himself he got himself sent off. But yeah, you saw how he was received last time round, Mourinho, with the chants and the Corey. Like he's just a special guy for us. Um,
Yeah.
it's always a really good match. Always a really good match.
And as you mentioned that, I'm going down memory lane. I'm 20 years old or 19, sitting in a chicken wings cafe that one of my best friends was running, and I'm watching Mourinho's Inter dismantle Barcelona. Just like, how do you put this into words? Like he dissected Barca
Mm.
with how well that they played. He just knew exactly how to absorb that pressure, and that Inter just fired. Like Melito, for me, I don't think that he really gets the respect. Like Melito was one of the purest number nines.
Yeah, and I think it's because he peaked so late. Unfortunately, he peaked. Like by the time he came to Inter, I think he was already 29. And then he only really had those few years right at the top where he was really good for those few years. So I think that's probably why he doesn't get the credit he deserves.
Yeah,
But
true. He was a sharpshooter,
yeah,
and
some
you,
of the his goal collection those 2 or 3 years at Inter, you can see like he didn't look like he was quick, but he was quite deceivingly quick. He's a very complete striker.
yeah. It's funny because you mentioned his age. I feel like some strikers, just when they put the brain with the talent, and it happens in their late 20s, that's when you see like peak football.
Yeah, I think that's what I think this is what we're hoping with Lautaro because he still hasn't really ironed out a lot of his little deficiencies in terms of he can be a little bit, um, you know, not the most composed in front of goal. Um, so I think that we can see with Lautaro, he's got that still that level to reach ahead, and it looks like he's only 24, 25. So maybe he's going to be one of those guys that he's going to get better and better as his age goes on.
True. Maybe some fans look at this like, oh, this is a little bit of a rebirth, but I don't think that's fair to him because even if he did slump last year, that is part of growth. Is It's not a straight line, right?
No, no. As you're seeing with Tommy right now, he's having a difficult beginning to the season, but it doesn't mean that if we don't read, he's not good anymore. He's just having a bad patch of form. Let's see how he recovers, and that's where the best players do. They recover like Lautaro did, and let's see how Tommy recovers. And I hope he doesn't recover in this match.
Speaking about this match, and we've got the comments coming in, what formation and starting lineup should we expect from Inzaghi on Saturday?
Well, we know 100% is going to be a 3-5-2. You can put your mortgage on that on the formation. In terms of the players, there was a lineup that went kind of viral a couple of days ago in the Inter fan base, where it showed because Brozovic is injured, as you know, he got injured for Croatia in international duty. and they showed your old boy Mkhitaryan playing the regista role with Gagliardini in the middle and Barella, and it was like the Inter fan base just went up in arms, because first Gagliardini, then and Mkhitaryan playing as a regista, but luckily since then, because it's way too early, you work in the media, and like that, those lineup predictions like 4 or 5 days before, there's no way that they're going to be
Yeah,
accurate.
they're
So
so off.
yeah, so since then it's going to be, it looks like the boy that we brought in to be the vice Brozovic, Albanian youngster Christian Aslani, looks like he's going to take over in the defensive midfield position. So, and I hope Inzaghi actually pulls through with that, because he's only had 28 minutes this season until now, which is not enough. We probably may see Gagliardini still in midfield, but we'll see. It looks like at the moment Mkhitaryan and Barella are going to be the other two midfielders. And then on the wings, Dumfries on the right. Looks like Di Marco will retain his place on the left after his good performances with Italy. And up front, Lukaku has not recovered still. He still hasn't recovered, so it looks like it will be. Well, actually, I'm not actually too mad, because Dzeko has a good record against you guys since he's moved into. So it looks like it will be Dzeko, Lautaro up front. And at the back, it looks like it will be Skriniar, Acerbi, your old foe, and Bastoni, with Handanovic in goal as always.
Across the board, the one thing I think many fans will look at is the absence of Brozovic, but I do see quality within this Inter midfield. Like, you still have Mkhitaryan, who's going to want to have a big game. Like, he's an excellent player. He's a professional. Like, he's going to go out and play his game. Barella is, for me, like, he's one of my favorite players. I don't care about recent form. I think that he's really suffered from fatigue, but he's still a great player. And if he wants to show up, like, and he's really got it in him, he's going to be a problem. Gagliardini, I don't know, because I can go and say, oh, this guy is nothing, but then he could have one of those goals, like, which is what pushed Inter to buy him from Atalanta. So you never know. Or am I just being too cautious?
Yeah, on the Gagliardini one, you're being too cautious.
I'm
That was a
a little
long time
hesitant.
ago when we bought him from Atalanta, and somehow this guy's still here.
Yeah. Well, I think maybe Aslani is a interesting player there. He's a young guy. Say, he came from which team again?
So we signed him from Empoli. So he took over when Samuele Ricci was sold to Torino. He took over that role for Empoli, and I used to really like Ricci. Like, I was hoping that Inter would sign Ricci, and then I was mad when Torino signed him. And then when I saw Aslani, I was like, oh, this guy actually might be better than Ricci. So I was actually really happy when we signed him. I think it's like 4 million loan plus 10 obligation. So, decent amount of investment, especially for Inter's current financial status. So, yeah.
I was going to say Empoli, but then I was thinking maybe I'm getting confused with Bayrami, who's also Albanian. But that's interesting. So the two of them running it, very quality players there. Prospects, you could say.
Yeah,
All right, so
definitely.
we're looking at a 3-5-2. You've got a lot of the usual suspects for Inter. We see informed Di Marco, Dumfries, who put 2 past Roma last season. Hey, this team is not without threats. I think this is Sharma. I think this is going to be a battle. I think this might actually be a really good game.
No, 100%, 100%. And I think you guys, you guys are probably out for revenge, because last year, surprisingly, it was kind of not really that difficult for Inter in terms of the 2 matches, especially the first one, the one at in Rome. Like, that was probably one of, if not our best performance, one of our best performances under Inzaghi, because at half time, I think we were 3-0 up, and then we just, coasted to the rest of the match. Then at San Siro, you guys gave a much better showing, but again, I think was it 3-1 again afterwards.
3-1.
So I'm sure you guys are out for revenge from last season. And the Coppa Italia as well. We beat you, I think, 2-0. So yeah, it was a surprisingly easy fixture last season, but I'm not expecting that for sure, especially in our current form.
I've got a question coming in here from Marco Galovic. How is Mkhitaryan doing?
He's had injuries, so he got injured just after we started. He came on as a substitute. He's having good substitute appearances against Milan in the derby. He was really good. He came on. Him and Dzeko made the difference as substitutes. And then against Bayern Munich, I felt like he was one of the better outfield players, even though we lost that match. So we haven't really got to see him starting yet. And then against Udinese, it was that weird 30th minute substitution Inzaghi made him and Bastoni off in the 30th minute, which backfired. So we haven't really got to see the best of Mkhitaryan yet, but he's shown some glimpses that he's going to be a useful player for sure.
Yeah, I don't like doubt it for a second. Hearing that, I'm like, that sounds about right. Because when he left Roma, I didn't necessarily want to re-sign him because of his wages. But at the same time, I knew that Roma would lose a player who could progress the ball, especially in between the lines. And I think that is probably what Inzaghi could really use this season. So I think he's going to continue to play a big part.
Yeah, because Hakan Çalhanoğlu is injured, so he's supposed to be the vice Hakan. So yeah, I think he's going to play. I think he's similar to Hakan. He kind of converted to this Mezzala role, and I never thought he would. Like he's always he's always played very attacking roles in his career. So he's actually done very well transitioning. Don't you think?
Yeah. Mourinho had last season had them in a 3-4-2-1 where he would play as a center midfielder, kind of just dictating tempo, not really slinging the ball as you would imagine like a regista like Pirlo would have, but one that just makes the simple passes and allows the game to flow much better. He was a very dangerous player for Roma last season. So my second question to you is, which one are you going to pick if it was up to you, and who is Roma's most dangerous player?
Who would I pick? Interesting.
You got to bring one of these guys to Inter, slot right into Inzaghi's 3-5-2.
Man, yeah. Right now, I mean, we went. You know how it went all summer. It was supposed to be.
Besides
Dybala
that guy, that's not a fair one. I don't like cheap shots.
No, it wasn't taking a shot at you. Even though you took a shot at me.
I didn't want you to think I was taking a shot at you with that.
Oh, okay. Right, yeah, because you already did that on Bepe's show the other day, I remember.
Yeah, I can't hate you twice in 1 week.
Yeah. So, no, I think I'm just a very big fan. I've always been a very big fan of Dybala. So I just think he would have been really perfect in our 3-5-2. I think it just fits him. Like he gets that roam, he can roam around behind the striker, do all sorts of damage. Although I'll say I know Di Marco has been, he's been in good form for Italy, but he hasn't been as good for Inter. And we do miss Perisic. But I know Spinazzola hasn't really been amazing for you guys either. But Spinazzola, I think, is the type of wing back that we need now that Perisic has left. I think he's that guy that can take players on 1v1 and give that bit of burst of speed. So actually, it's between Spinazzola or Zalewski even, because I really feel like the left wing back is kind of the issue right now that we need to improve on. But Gosens should be that guy, but Inzaghi doesn't seem to be giving him any faith. So I'll go Dybala.
I thought for a second you were going to go Zalewski.
No. You've got a good squad. I really like Pellegrini. I'm not a big fan, even though Hakan did very well last year at Inter. I can see Pellegrini being an instant upgrade on Hakan in that left centre mid position.
Yeah, Pellegrini this year, he should have been playing centre middle a lot more, but the injury to Wijnaldum as well as to Zaniolo and in addition to El Shaarawy has forced Pellegrini back into midfield. But that is a very good role for him. And you get a chance to...
Smalling.
Yeah.
Because the right is completely dusted right now. But Cherby's actually done surprisingly well. So actually, I'll take that back.
Cherby has been like silently consistent for 6-7 seasons at this point.
Yeah. Apart from last season, which is why I think a lot of Inter fans were kind of turned off. But you're right. I think he's had quite an underrated career.
I wonder what he could have been if he had gotten integrated with the Italy setup a little bit more, but which, Bonucci, Chiellini, nobody was coming between that.
Yeah. I mean, he surprisingly got a lot of minutes. Like, I thought Mancini would have played Bastoni at the Euros more, but Acerbi seemed like the pick, even when the Chiellini wasn't there.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know why that was always the the go-to, but a lot of Mancini's picks make me scratch my head. What's going on, guys? I've got another one from Marco here. What do you think? How do you compare this Roma that you've seen so far to Mourinho's Inter? Are they playing similar, or do you see like a significant change in the approach to the matches?
I think last season there was very much difference. I was quite surprised how Roma were you were quite open or you were quite an attacking team, and I think you still are. But I think you can definitely see this season that you're a little bit deeper. You're not really going out and pressing teams. Like I can see the Rio kind of Mourinho team coming out, and you can grind out wins a lot more in true Mourinho fashion. So I am seeing more and more of the Mourinho I know. But last season, I was quite surprised. Like you were kind of quite an entertaining team to watch.
Yeah, they have this way that they play where they drop their right wing forward and then he collects the ball. Typically, that's been Dybala. And
Mm,
Tammy has also been more of a layoff guy rather than an off the shoulder number 9, which has
yeah.
been interesting to see, as well as the movement of Pellegrini back into midfield. Um, I've got a fun one for you now. Now you can beat up a little bit on Roma. Who would you not pick? Guy,
Oh,
you're like this guy. I can't watch him.
I think Cristante is not, even though he's improved a lot over the last year or so. Um, yeah, I just don't really like. Even when he plays for Italy, I'm just like it's Cristante. But
Methodical.
but I do respect how he's improved, and he seems to have leadership qualities. But there's one player that it's I wouldn't say like I feel like he's a little bit overrated, Gianluca Mancini. I just feel like I think him and Ibanez are quite similar. They both have a brain fart moments in them, but I feel like Mancini, I've always said because he always said like Materazzi is his idol, and he's got these tattoos, he's got this skinhead face, he's got this hard man image. But I've never really rated him as an actual defender. Like I think he's really good as a footballer in terms of he's really good ball playing defender. But as is like the basics of defending, again, he's improved as well under Mourinho, but he's someone I don't particularly rate as highly. But I know he's like your future captain, I guess, at this point.
Interesting. Future captain. After Pellegrini, I don't know. Let's say Pellegrini went to Paris Saint Germain in the
Yeah.
summer, hypothetically. I don't know who would take it. Maybe if Pellegrini walks off the field, probably Chris Smalling right now. But long term, you think of maybe Mancini. For me, I would have to consider Zalewski. I would really have to
The
consider
Roman
him.
factor, in it.
Yeah, Roman factor. Even though he's not Roman blood, I think the fact that he's a city boy, I think that outweighs the ethnicity aspect to it. He's a
Yeah,
Polish international.
you guys love a Roman captain.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't know about Zaniolo if he would ever be
No,
a captain. I think
no.
he gets a little bit too into the scrap to
Yeah.
but yeah, it's interesting. Considering Mancini as a captain, if that's the way they went. And last year, I felt that, like you just said, they were really similar. This year, I really see Ibanez taking off. He's had a really good start. Like the first 7 matches, Ibanez has turned up big time. He's
Yeah.
calmed down quite a bit. He just seems a lot more concentrated. I don't doubt that, the defenders that do that habitually throughout their careers, they'll have 1 or 2 a season, right? But I hope that from what I've seen so far, that he starts to leave that and something has switched in him. He just got his first Brazil call up too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So no, same as we were
Which
talking about with
is
strikers. We know centre backs. He's just gonna, with age, he definitely mature more. And yeah, he's got the same kind of weaknesses as Mancini. But I'm actually weirdly, I'm a big fan of Ibanez, but not of Mancini. I don't know why that is, but I really like Ibanez. I think physically, like he's a monster. Like he's got the
yeah,
pace, the athleticism to keep up with probably like any striker in this league.
yeah, yeah, for sure. And this next question kind of leads into that. Last season, I saw a lot of weaknesses with Roma. And I'm sure you did as well. You can't say that there weren't glaring weaknesses when you get your butt just totally kicked by Inter, like 6-1 on aggregate within the league, blowing big leads, like the one against Juventus, barely taking any points from any of the big teams. So my last question to you, before I go to like the rest of the comments, have Roma fixed those weaknesses? Do you believe they have?
At the moment, I would say looks like it, but again, it's quite early in the season. But then again, you had that Udinese game in between where it was like, have you fixed the hero issues? It looked like, and then 4-0. I mean, that was pretty bad. But I think, as I said, it looks more like a Mourinho team now. I feel like I don't think you're gonna have those bad score lines this season. And you've got that different mentality. I think even though it's just the Conference League, but I think that's gonna do a big difference to your mentality as a team. So I think you've gone a way. You've made progress, but I think as long as you don't improve on certain players, I don't think there's no magic wand that Mourinho can fix those issues. But I think, yeah, as I said, I think it's going to be a more difficult match than last season for sure for that reason.
Yeah, I'm foreseeing that. It's very hard. I'm trying to think of like predictions. I don't know. It really, to me, it like depends on, does Tammy show up? Does Lautaro have one of the finest games of his career? I don't know. There's that possibility here. I think there's a lot of question marks going into this one.
Yeah, and I can't even confidently predict an Inter win, even though we're at home, because our form has been so bad this season. We've beaten all the teams that we should be beating, apart from Udinese. Like all our best performances this season have been against Cremonese and Spezia, but that's expected. But as soon as we've come up against Lazio, Milan, Bayern, Udinese, like we've come up short. So yeah, are we gonna fail another big test this season? And our defending has been awful as well. So I'm actually thinking about a draw, to be honest. I'm thinking like a 1-1 or a 2-2 draw.
It's funny you say that, because Roma also played good against guys like Cremonese, and they showed up. Salernitana put in some goals, decent performance, but then the drop against Udinese, the drop against Ludo Goretz out in Bulgaria. I have no idea how that happened. So there is that unpredictability factor heading into this match, and I wish it wasn't. So like, I don't know. I totally feel like I can't make an accurate, really like an assumption here. I have to go with something like what you said. Maybe it's going to level out. Does one team just suddenly kick into high gear? I don't know.
Yeah.
This one's really tough, Sharma.
Yeah, and it could be because now it's going to be the last stretch before the World Cup. So a win for either team could be, the little boost to take you up all the way till mid-November when we break up, and could be a big boost whoever wins this game.
It's true. I was reading one earlier today that Zaniolo has not scored against Inter, I don't think ever. And what was it? 0 wins with him on the pitch for Roma against Inter. So
yeah, which is funny, because usually it's like an unwritten rule in the world of football that an ex-Inter player has to score against Inter. So yeah, it's weird how Zaniolo's never scored against Inter, and he's probably, if you ask Inter fans, he's our biggest regret over the last few years of all of our Primavera products that we've let go.
Guys, send in your questions if you have any more for Sharma. Just about to hit this one at the death here.
So which Inter player would you take? I'll give that question back to you.
Ooh, it's not Lautaro. It's not Lukaku. It's Barella. I love the fact that he's an engine, but on top of that, when he's not an engine, he still has that trequartista mindset where he can see the pitch. And I think he's undervalued in that aspect. And I think back to when he played for Cagliari, and he was this kind of could do it all type player in midfield. He would make hard tackles, win the ball back, but then he would advance into truly like the final third and just be able to pick out either the more forward midfielder or the forward or the wing forward, whoever it was, but he sees the entire pitch. And I really feel that's an underrated quality of his.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he's going to end up playing deeper, I think, later on in his career.
Do you think that's because just as he gets slower?
I just think, I just don't think he has the thing, the timing of runs. Like, he just doesn't have that in it, like to get into the box. And I think he's just best as like a all action midfielder, like a little bit
All
deeper.
rounder.
Yeah, because I think we expect in our system we expect the output from Barella, but I just don't think he has that. Like he's got like obviously some amazing shots and goals from distance, but he just doesn't seem to have that knack of a goal scoring midfielder yet for some reason.
Yeah,
I
I
think you
don't
just
think that
have
he
it or you
does.
don't. I don't think you can like learn that, to be honest.
No. No, I don't think he is going to be that guy. You're right. Like for him to be like more of a Fratesi, who we see now, he like bursts into the box and he's actually
Yeah,
pretty
he's
accurate
just
on the end of the ball.
natural.
Yeah, it's true. So I think that that could make sense, especially like if you have that type of player who can make that tackle but also sling the ball because he can make a long pass.
Yeah,
It could
yeah,
work for him, especially as the legs get on. I don't know how old Barella is right now, 26, something around that.
yeah. 25, 26.
Yeah, somewhere in that ballpark. So with the amount of running that a player like him typically does, compiled on with international play, that's a significant amount of mileage on those legs. So by the time he's like 28, 29, which is sounds like a long time away, but really, you know how quickly that goes. So
Mm.
interesting, guys. Thank you. Sharma just broke 4,000 followers on YouTube, and you can check him out in the link below. Sharma,
Yeah.
congratulations on that.
No, thank you, man. It was yeah, we're making slow progress trying to get to that 5K. Hopefully by the end of the season. But yeah, if anyone's interested in Inter-related content, I do try to make Serie A general content as well, but Inter keeps me busy enough. But yeah, check out my channel, and of course subscribe to Wayne, who's been very making content very regularly. I've been enjoying your stuff a lot recently.
Thanks, man. It's because of you. It's because of your
No, stop
your
it.
guidance. um, there's something I don't know what I was gonna say. It's probably not that important. Just that. Oh,
Is
I was gonna say Forza Inter. Let's see.
is that
Let's see what we get.
is that wait, ask you like one last question. Is Tammy gonna break his duck?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Going out with that one.
Nice.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Ciao.